When Ja'Marr Chase was 19 years old, there were few, if any, cornerbacks in college that could cover him. After scoring an insane 20 touchdowns, Chase won the Biletnikoff Award given to the nation's best wide receiver, which shocked no one. He also helped lead that 2019-2020 LSU Tigers team to a national title game and may have been the most vital piece, not named Joe Burrow, on the undefeated Tigers team. But these are all things you probably already know. Today, we're going to take a look at the 10 things you didn't know about the surefire first-round pick, Ja'Marr Chase. But before we get into that and all things Ja'Marr, do me a favor. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed to this channel. All done? Perfect? On to our video. Number 10, Ja'Marr Chase puts all of his goals down on a mirror and doesn't take them down until he completes them. As a sophomore, this meant leading the conference in yards and touchdowns, as well as leading his team to a national title. While we all write down goals, apparently Chase sets his bar as high as possible because he expects the best out of himself. Although he's not tipping us on what his rookie season goals are, but knowing the competitor that Chase is, we're sure they're high. Number 9. Ja'Marr Chase was the number 4 prospect in Louisiana. This shouldn't surprise you. He was a beast in high school, and from a state where many top athletes are groomed. Now, what's surprising about this is that Chase was a heavily sought-after talent out of Archbishop Rummel High School, but chose to stay locally and play at LSU after receiving offers from the likes of Florida State, Auburn, Georgia, and Michigan. Keep in mind, LSU had already recruited Justin Jefferson, and Ja'Marr Chase was coming on to compete for a third receiver. Although Chase had offers from just about everywhere, the highly touted Louisiana boy decided to stay in his home state instead of going elsewhere to get more playing time. Ja'Marr is not a quitter, and similar to finding his footing at LSU out of high school, the NFL, well, it's going to take some adjusting to, but it looks like Ja'Marr, he's up for the challenge. Number 8. Ja'Marr Chase was an all-state long jumper back in high school. He didn't just run track, he excelled at it. And of the events he did, the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the 300 high hurdles, and the high jump, it was the long jump that Ja'Marr left his mark. In 2017, Chase was a state-winning long jumper with a mark of 24 feet, 2.5 inches. I guess it makes sense, right? See receiver leap over defender, see receiver glide 24 feet on the track field. Ja'Marr was so good in track that if he didn't play football, he could have focused on his track career. Number 7, Chase reminds people of several elite wide receivers. Now, you think Ja'Marr Chase is a tough guy to cover, that you're correct. But ask the many DBs that have tried to cover him and failed. Another thing that's apparently tough, though, when it comes to Ja'Marr is finding him a receiver to compare him to. If you ask his peers, they say he plays like Ja'Marr, but maybe a little Randy Moss in there for the way he high points the ball. And we talked about his leaping ability. One scout compared his route running to Devontae Adams and said Chase isn't the fastest receiver, but he's someone with excellent feet who can get separation anywhere on the field. The two latest comps might tell the most about Chase's best trait, his physicality. For all his strengths, Ja'Marr's biggest strength might just be how strong he is. At just 208 pounds, he's a hard guy to bring down after the catch, and he almost never gets brought down by the first defender. His after the catch and contested catch abilities are up there with the very best, and have many comparing Chase to Steve Smith or someone even a little bigger in Anquan Bolden. Both receivers went on to have very good careers. Steve Smith might find his way to the Hall of Fame and is probably more flattering of a comparison, but it speaks to just how hard it is to cover Chase and how tough he is. Regardless of who he compares to, what we do know is that some of college's best corners couldn't cover him, and we're going to go out on a limb here and say that this part of his game will translate. Number 6, Ja'Marr was the most popular player to opt out over COVID concerns. In 2019, the 19-year-old Ja'Marr Chase, he lit up the college football field as the number 1 threat in Joe Burrow's high-flying passing attack. Chase had one of the best true sophomore seasons in recent memory and was the clear choice for the Biletnikoff Award given to college football's best wide receiver. COVID threw most organized sports teams a curveball, and we don't blame Ja'Marr for sitting out. He claimed to be sitting out over concerns for the health of his family, but there were some saying that Chase sat out because he would only hurt his draft stock by playing another year of college football. Number 5, Ja'Marr was given the number 7 jersey at LSU, but left school. At LSU, the number 7 is a jersey reserved for the team's best player. If you're rocking the 7 at LSU, chances are you're a first-round talent or somebody who your team has chosen. as its cornerstone athlete and a true playmaker on offense or defense. In recent years, that's been given to Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Leonard Fournette. Well, in 2020, the man wearing the number 7 in practice was Ja'Marr Chase, and after his 2019, nobody was doubting he was the rightful heir. After Chase opted out, though, the jersey was passed on, but the respect for Chase's game was there, and we could only be left to wonder what he would have done with that number 7 on. Number 4, Ja'Marr Chase is a better prospect than Justin Jefferson. We know what you just watched Justin Jefferson as a rookie due to professional athletes. We also know that you might find this claim ridiculous based on how easily Justin Jefferson transitioned to the pro game. But one thing was lost in all of the Justin Jefferson hoopla, and that is that he slid down the draft board to the Vikings at 22 because many viewed him as the number 2 on his own team in 2019. It's not that Jefferson's final year at LSU wasn't impressive, because it was. It's just that Jefferson did his damage in the slot while Chase was on the outside facing the opponent's team's best cornerback or in double coverage. If LSU's offense was pick your position of who you wanted to beat you, the guy they'd usually focus on stopping was Chase. Just saying. Either way, it will be interesting to see how this translates to his pro game, but as a college athlete, Chase had Jefferson beat hands down. Number 3, Ja'Marr Chase is a tackle-breaking machine. Ja'Marr Chase finished with just about every record in the book in 2019, and one of his more impressive traits is one that probably stands out most in his film: his ability to break tackles. Chase finished number 2 among all FBS wideouts with a broken tackle on 31% of his plays. Chase isn't the largest receiver at around 6 foot, 208 pounds, but the many SEC corners he's left in his wake will tell you that Chase is a beast. And if you want to bring him down in the open field, you have your work cut out for you. Number 2, Ja'Marr Chase and Justin Jefferson were the most recent LSU wide receiving tandem with 1,000 yards each. The last, Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. This is something that usually doesn't happen on the same team, and even less likely when you're in the SEC and facing college football's best competition. To understand just how good Chase and Jefferson were, you'd have to look at how dominant each of their seasons were. Chase topped 1,700 yards, while Jefferson topped 1,500s. Their numbers were well over Beckham and Landry's, and many have these two prospects as higher-rated talents entering the NFL draft. If any of this is true, we're in for a treat. Number 1 on the list of 10 things you didn't know about Ja'Marr Chase. He might be the first receiver off the board in the 2021 NFL Draft. Wouldn't it be shocking if in the same year that a wide receiver wins the Heisman, he isn't the first selected in the draft? Don't look now, but at the front of the draft, there are some wide receiver needy teams, and of those teams, scouts would be shocked if the Miami Dolphins or Philadelphia Eagles didn't grab one of these prospects for their young quarterbacks. The question is, who is getting taken first? After the 2019 season, if you ask that question, it's hands down Ja'Marr Chase, but after seeing Devontae Smith's season, some have him at the top of their board. It'll be interesting to see how the numbers play out at their combine and pro days, but as it stands, there are 2 elite prospects at the top of the draft board that will have coaches and GMs taking this decision down to the last minute. The fact that Chase is even in the conversation after sitting out a year speaks to just how incredible he is. All right, sports fans, that's it for our time on the 2021 NFL Draft prospect, Ja'Marr Chase, and the 10 things you didn't know about this soon-to-be superstar. In a land of booms and busts when it comes to draft picks, we're tipping our caps to Ja'Marr Chase and his chances of chasing some records before his days in the NFL are over. What do you think about this list? Let us know by dropping a comment down below, and as always, if you're not already a subscriber, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, sports fans, take care.